Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something that honestly is the only thing standing between you having a great digital experience and wanting to throw your computer out the window. It's called functional testing. It's how we make sure the software we use every day doesn't just look nice, but that it actually, works.
I mean, really think about that for a second. It's the big question behind every single click, every tap, every swipe. You hit the Add to Cart button and you just expect your item to show up there. But behind that one simple action, there's this huge, complex web of code. So how can we be absolutely sure it's going to work? Not just for you, but for everyone, every single time. Well, getting that guarantee, that's the whole point of functional testing.
All right, so to really get our arms around this, we need to zoom out for a moment. See, software testing isn't just one thing. It's a whole world of different checks and balances, and each one has a very specific job to do.
You've got all kinds of flavors. There are tests for performance, like how fast does this thing load? You've got structural tests that are kind of like a mechanic popping the hood to look right at the engine, at the code itself. Then there are regression tests to make sure a new update didn't accidentally break something that was already working just fine. Our main event, functional testing, is what we call black box testing. We honestly don't care how the engine works, just that when you turn the key, the car starts.
Okay, so keeping all those other types in mind, what is it that makes functional testing so special? Let's pin down exactly what it is and what it isn't.
To put it as simply as possible, it's all about checking the features from the outside. We treat the software like a black box. We're not peeking inside to see the code, we just want to know if we do X, does Y happen? It's all about inputs and outputs. Does pushing the button do the thing it's supposed to do? Yes or no?
And this right here is where it all clicks into place. Functional testing asks, did my message send? Non-functional testing asks, yeah, but how fast did it send? Or can the system handle a million people trying to send messages all at the same time? See the difference? It's what the software does versus how well it does it.
Now, this isn't just about randomly clicking around to see what happens. No, it's a super rigorous process, and it's built on 5 core principles. You can think of these as the fundamental checklist for building quality and, maybe most importantly, trust.
And here they are. This is the heart of it. Is the software suitable for what the user actually needs to do? Is it accurate? Are the calculations right? Does it have good interoperability? Meaning, does it play nicely with other software? Is it secure? And is it compliant with all the necessary rules and laws? If the answer to any of these is no, then that software just isn't ready for prime time.
Okay, so we've got the principles, the big why behind all of this. But how do we actually do it? How do we put those principles into practice? Well, that's where the functional testing toolkit comes in. These are the specific methods we use to make sure those principles are being met.
First up, and yeah, the name is a little on the nose, is function testing. This is probably the most direct tool we have. It's where a tester literally sits down and uses the software, clicking the buttons, filling out the forms, just like a real user would, to make sure a feature works from start to finish.
From there, we zoom in a bit and focus on the user interface, the UI. This isn't just about what a button does anymore, it's about the whole visual experience. Is it easy to get around? Does everything on the screen look and act the way it's supposed to?
So we're checking things like, can you actually navigate from point A to point B smoothly? Do the keyboard shortcuts work? What happens when you try to resize the window? Does everything break? Because let's be real, an app that's a nightmare to navigate isn't really functional, even if all the buttons technically work.
Of course, everything you see on the screen, it's all powered by data behind the curtain. That information, your information, has to be stored, fetched, and managed perfectly. This type of testing dives deep into the database to make sure that whole process is bulletproof and that no data ever gets messed up.
And the questions here are absolutely critical. When you look up a customer, does it pull the right one? When you hit save on a form, is that information written to the database correctly and completely? This is the foundation of trust for any app that handles information.
Now, this one is fascinating because it's a type of testing for things that happen when you're not even there. It's called business cycle testing. A lot of the most important software jobs aren't triggered by a user's click, but by the clock. Think about an end-of-month report that runs automatically or a daily sync. This testing makes sure those critical automated jobs run perfectly, right on schedule.
This is basically checking to make sure the software's internal clock works. Do those weekly summaries actually go out weekly? Are complicated business rules applied correctly when that job runs in the middle of the night? It's all about making sure the software is ticking along perfectly in sync with the real-world business.
And finally, our fifth tool. You can think of this one as the systems bouncer. Access control testing is all about security. It's the process of verifying that you can only see and do the things you have permission for, and nothing more.
This means we're hammering on the system, making sure a regular user can't somehow get into the admin settings. We're making sure one customer can't see another customer's private data. And we're making sure that anyone without the right credentials is stopped right at the front door. In today's world, this is not just a feature. It is absolutely non-negotiable.
So, we have the principles, we have the toolkit, but what does it all really add up to? Why does this careful, layered, methodical approach matter so much?
You know, it really boils down to this one simple but incredibly powerful idea. Users use the software. It sounds so obvious, right? But in the weeds of coding and deadlines, it can be surprisingly easy to forget that at the end of the day, there's a real person just trying to get something done.
And that is the ultimate goal here. From the buttons you click on your screen, to the integrity of the data in the database, all the way to the security that's protecting your information. All these layers of functional testing are working together for one reason: to make sure the software delivers on its promise to you, the user.
And I'll leave you with this little thought to chew on. We've defined functional as making sure something works according to the rules. But if a feature works perfectly, but it's so confusing and frustrating that it's basically unusable, is that software truly functional? It's a good reminder that great software isn't just about what works. It's about what works for people. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.